Here is a 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Platinum in Midnight Black Metallic. Why is this better than a Lexus TX 350? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and that's what I'm going to touch bases on with some pros and cons and obviously comparable rivals. In the front, you're getting adaptive LED headlights and daytime running, so it's the same structure as the Lexus, and because this is the Platinum tier, we get the fog lights. They're LED. The Limited gets it as well, over 8 inches of clearance, so it's the same exact setup as the Lexus. Now the suspension will be altered, and you can get an F Sport suspension for the Lexus, but then you're talking over $80,000. This is around $60,000 if you didn't catch the MSRP at the beginning. The front grille is going to be a little bit more boxy and less futuristic, and the chrome bars are going to go underneath the headlamp assembly, whereas on the TX, it's not going to do that. It's going to be cut off, and it's going to be a little bit more simplified, whereas this looks more bold and dynamic. Because when I'm going from a Highlander to a Grand Highlander, I want that grand feel. And underneath the hood is going to have the D4S engine. It's going to be the same as the TX. You're going to lose 10 horsepower and 7 pound-feet of torque out of the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. However, these numbers Toyota has claimed was under regular fuel, in which they said if you put premium octane, you're going to increase at least 5 horsepower and 6 pound-feet of torque. So now when you're thinking $10,000 more, well, I'm getting more performance. No, you're getting a touch more. So the 0 to 60s is going to be right at the same, at that 8.1 that the Lexus is quoting, and achieving 20 mpgs for the city and 26 mpgs for the highway. It's all paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now the big difference here, which I find as one of the big problems, there's no TRD, there's no suspension alters for the Grand Highlander. It's all new, but if you go to TX or Lexus, you can get the F Sport, in which it changes the suspension. It makes it a little bit more dynamic, and you will have more horsepower and torque even going into the hybrid max, but then you're going to decrease in MPGs. So what's the purpose of getting all that power when you're trying to save with a hybrid variant? The Platinum gets 20-inch chrome wheels. The XLE will get 18-inch, and I don't necessarily recommend the XLE because you're not getting the fog lights, you're getting the tires that kind of look like a rent-a-car. And on the side, the GH will look more grand than the Highlander because of the way they do the window structure, whereas the TX virtually looks longer because of the way the rear window integrates into the tailgate. Going to the Limited, that's the only trim that you can option a 2-wheel drive, which all-wheel drive gets 5,000 pounds of towing, which is the same as the TX. LED taillights. Going into the Limited, into the Platinum, you're getting the center light bar underneath the lower roof spoiler. The Platinum takes it up another notch. You're getting a digital rear view mirror, bird's eye view, 360-degree reverse camera with front and rear parking sensors. So when I'm thinking packages of what the Grand Highlander offers, maybe before you were thinking it was a little bit too overpriced, but since the TX came out, this is now a bargain because of all the performance and everything you're getting all mixed in. Because this is the Platinum, power liftgate, which you can also adjust. That's going to go into 20.6 cubic feet of storage. One cool thing to show you before the storage is you get these LED lights. The JBL sound system comes here, so if you want to do any tailgating, you can just sit back here and relax, and you got the subwoofer right here as well. And underneath the floor, you get a little bit of storage that you can put the privacy cover with the spare tire. Easy to fold the third row down from the back. And it goes. There we go at a 40-60 split. That's going to increase cargo to 57.9 cubic feet. Split fold the captain seats. I'll maximize cargo to 97.5 cubic feet, keeping everything flat. This is also a power adjustment tailgate, which makes it easier for shorter or tall people. We need to go inside, start it up, so you can hear that exhaust note. Ten-way power seat adjustment, leather seats, heated, ventilated, perforated, and memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. This is the largest SUV opposed to the Sequoia Passenger side's going to get storage nook. There's not a full pass-through, but you get another storage pocket with a USB, and it's a 2-tier that wraps around with the 11-speaker JBL sound system, heads-up display with a digital rear-view mirror or auto-dimming rear-view mirror, and a large panel moonroof that goes to the second row. The difference between this and the TX will start with this area here in the dashboard layout. This is a 12.3. You get a 14-inch when you go into Lexus. You're going to get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio, and a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. Push this view button right here, and you get the bird's eye view. Try climate control settings. The air vents will be outlined with the satin aluminum, and you get the contrast stitching. USB ports, a QI wireless charging pad, the key fob for the Grand Highlander. And another difference is really in this area here. Lexus kind of cleans it up a little bit where you can actually remove the cup holders. You can't do so here, but you have plenty of storage capacity. Because this is the all-wheel drive, we have 7 different driving modes, which are right in here. Also here, this slides open to a storage tier that can slide, and it's a deep storage pocket with a 12-volt charger. And also this area is configured differently in the TX, which can be a little bit more optimal for storage, but they're still the same depth. Leather-wrapped steering wheel, it's heated, multi-function with adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, the paddle shifts, and the gauge cluster is a fully digital reader, which can go through an array of information for the driver. And when you change the driver modes, it'll show you a little diagram of what you're changing into. And the door panels and the dash integrated together with the wood inlays. It's going to be more of your everyday up top. Software needs to be one touch up and down for all the windows. Acoustic front windows and UV front windscreen with a large storage pocket with about 2 beverage holders carved out. For the second row headroom and leg room, storage behind both of the front seats, third climate control, heated and ventilated seats because this is the platinum tier, USB, home plug, and a removable storage container, which is basically the same. It's just a different design for Lexus because the way they do their cup holders, this area here will integrate out, in which it doesn't do so for the Grand Highlander. These are also reclinable because they're captain seats. And you can adjust these forward to give optimal storage for the third row, or just make it easy for someone tall like me. Doors are going to get the manual sunshades and the air vents in the headliner. The door panel is going to be longer, and I like that it goes all the way out, so if you do recline, you'll still have an armrest. Area here for some pocket change or mints, a storage pocket that's basically the same as the front. To go into the third row, pull the lever, slide it forward, and it's an easy access to get inside for 3 more to sit with 3 cup holders on both sides with a USB. It's more or less the same setup as the TX. Headroom is not necessarily bad. This is setting up all the way. We're going to put these back, which if you go into Lexus, it's going to be power, and you got a lot more headroom. You're going to lose a little bit of cargo capacity. As for leg space, feet isn't going to be an issue. Sliding into the center, you can see what I mean for the leg space if you're tall like me, and butt and shoulder space will be a little bit more cramped because this comes outwards, and for the headroom in the center, it's not going to be as desirable as the sides. 265 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. That's 10 horsepower less than the TX, 7 pound-feet of torque less than the TX, but that's at regular fuel. Look at what you get. A refined drive from Toyota. It's more grand because you're getting components more or less from Lexus at a fraction of the price. It's going to take me right away to my pros and cons. Starting with the pros is that you're getting this at least $10,000 to $12,000 cheaper, and you're not sacrificing with performance. It's basically the same engine. Just put in regular fuel and you're not going to have any issues with that performance difference. Should be right at the 8.1 seconds. Other pros when you get into the Platinum tier, you're hovering around $60,000, which people in the comments might say, hey, it's a lot of money. It's a Toyota. For the GH, it isn't, because look at rivals that it compares to. Most of them are going to be more money. Even look at the Mazda CX-90 that just came out. You could spend over $70,000 for that vehicle if you max it out. But it's going to hover around the $60,000 price point. This is fully loaded. And if you're comparing it against Honda, they don't even make something that's comparable in the length or the width, and you're still at 60 grand. Going against Chevy, GM, same thing. You're gonna either get something that's gonna be a lot more bigger, but you're still spending a lot more money, in which that's why this becomes that sweet spot. Going to the cons, towing capacity on all variants is 5,000 pounds, so it doesn't matter whether you get the max hybrid. When you have to go to this tier-based system, I'm not a huge fan of that, but they offset it with the Pro. You can option features on the trims, which makes it a better vehicle in my perspective, because now I don't have to go full platinum. But if I go full platinum, I'm getting a Lexus for a fraction of the price, which is the big pro. I get it. The dashboard design is different in the door panels, and even the center cluster, they clean it up nicely, and they give you a little bit more storage capacity, because you can take out everything here the way it's laid out, and the center cluster is a little bit more wide to make it easier to open, but then you're losing storage capacity in the dashboard, and then on the door panels, you're getting the electric door handles to get in and out. You could still use the manual ones, but why would you get a Lexus if you're not going to use the actual power to get out? And if you go up to the TX 500H, you're getting 366 horsepower, which this would be at 362. Torque, you're getting 406 pound-feet. This would be at 400. It's just so close to the numbers because it's the same engine. All I'm seeing is put premium fuel and you're getting the TX with the GH. And here's that motivation. I'm just thinking overall bargain. I'm not a huge fan of the way the screens are in the Lexus either. It has that driver focus setup. It's a lot of gloss black elements. I don't like how they put this larger 12.3. It could have been configured a little bit better in the dash, but at least it's not a big plastic bubble around the dash. Turn radius, this is a longer vehicle. It's going to get about 2 and a part lane, and it's going to be motivated. Unfortunately, none of the variants offer a naturally aspirated V6, which would be the absolute sweet spot for the vehicle, and that's basically the big problem I have. You're not necessarily losing power, but when you're considering the weight to this vehicle, putting this type of performance to it, it's naturally going to be in the 8-second margin, even if you're using regular fuel, in which if you do that with the TX, you know you're going to sacrifice your HP and your torque. So it's the same exact variant as the GH. As for other comparable rivals like the Nissan has a naturally aspirated V8. The screen configuration is kind of the same thing. They just threw it in there a couple of years ago just to kind of refresh the center, but they didn't do anything over the top. But putting Toyota in perspective of what they've done with the GH, which is the Grand Highlander. People like acronyms, so I'm going to make it up. They have made the Highlander itself better because it is more grand. You're getting decent MPGs, and now you have leg room for third row occupants if you option the captain's seats. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Gettle Stadium Toyota for giving us this 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Platinum for our car review.